How's everybody doing? This is Spontaneous Stream as usual. You know, I do spontaneous streams all the time. Feel free to chat in the chat section. Chat section is over here. Feel free to chat up a storm. I know some of you guys want to talk about all kinds of things, so we'll get to that. Psalms 125 says, "They that trust in the Lord shall be as Mount Zion, which cannot be removed, but will abide forever." That's it. Real simple. I'm going to keep it. Yeah. Yeah. Mount Zion. For those of you who don't know, this is not language that's literal. It's not literal. It's spiritual. But suffice it to say, those people who trust in goodness, okay? When they trust in goodness, you'll always be around. And you ask yourself, what do you mean by that? Well, when you align yourself with these positive values, virtues such as patience, love, generosity, kindness, peacefulness, peacemaker, and those things go on. And so you will go on with those things. All right, it's that simple. All right, we're going to talk about Justice League. We're going to talk about Justice League today. And there's some hidden dialogue in Justice League that I thought was going to be fun for you guys to see. Don't forget, you can chat in the chat section. Yes, my video that I made on the response to the so-called self-professed DC fanboy turned Marvel fanboy, I will deal with that at a later time. But for now, I'm going to deal with this. I think it's interesting. It's short. And then if you want to talk about more things with the DCEU, feel free. Anything you want to talk about with the DCEU, you can start chatting up a storm right there. Not only the DCEU, but if you guys want to talk anything about Krypton, if you want to talk anything about anything DC, even the CW, you might be able to get me up to speed with that. There was a comment made yesterday on Tony Scott, and a shout out to the brother that was talking about Tony Scott. Tony Scott did some pretty interesting movies. One of them, movies with Eddie Murphy, movies with I forgot his name. The black actor who was in Training Day and that kind of stuff. I forgot what his name is. You guys might know the name of the guy I'm talking about. Denzel Washington. He did movies with a lot of really good actors and some pretty good movies. Now, I don't think of them as, except for one movie that he did with Will Smith that you guys know from the 90s, which was pretty interesting. But Tony Scott's, Ridley Scott's brother, and he committed suicide. Is alleged that he committed suicide. I'm not too sure. I haven't looked into the story in much more detail than that. And it's interesting. He jumped off a bridge. We'll talk more about that, LA and so on, and any other thing you want to talk about. It's nice talking to you guys, so I would love to chat up a storm if you guys have the time to chat up a storm. Shout outs to my peoples, and when you guys join the chat, just let me know. Remember, your comments are always welcome. That's what makes this chat so much fun. It's chatting with other people who enjoy movies. The chat just all right, just making sure my sound and my audio is there. All right, so this is what we're going to talk about. Let me hold on a second. Pull this up here. Okay, so we're going to talk about something that was hidden inside of Justice League. The hidden dialogue. So boom, here we are. Unfortunately, I can't show you in video form because you would actually hear the dialogue in video form. But we're still going to talk about it. So there was Steppenwolf had a hidden conversation in the background with Howard the janitor. It was behind Flash's confession to Batman that he didn't know how to fight, and he was kind of overwhelmed with the situation. Flash was saying, it's really cool that you guys are ready to do battle and stuff, but I've never done battle. I just push people and run away, right? Now, while the Flash was saying that, Steppenwolf was actually saying something to Howard the janitor. Okay, so we're going to go into that, and this should be a little bit of fun. I was able to use some technology that I have to actually pull off the vocals, Flash's dialogue and stuff that was in the foreground, because it's stereo. The foreground stuff can cancel itself out if you know what you're doing, and so you could actually hear the stuff in the background. Now, if you guys have social media, you can go up on Justice League Unite on Facebook. Go to Justice League Unite on Facebook. I'll go up on Twitter as well. And on Twitter, I'll post it up as well, the actual video, okay, footage. But let me get into what it is. It's really going to be quick, so you guys don't have to worry. It's going to be quick. Let me just pull this down here. All right, I'm looking at you guys in the chat section to see when you guys give me feedback. Until then, we'll be ping pong in between the chat section and your comments here. So let me blow it up nice and big. Make it a little smaller here. So yeah, Steppenwolf had a hidden conversation in the background. So, you know, if you know about music, there's the foreground, which is the lead vocals and whatever. And then all of the instrumentation usually is in the background. And then there may be other things, other vocals in the background. Well, similarly, in movies, you have the vocals in the foreground because how they dub the movie. And then in the background now, you may have the musical score. You may have other dialogue stuff in the background. So I was able to scrub off the foreground stuff and leave the background stuff. So in Justice League, you know, the League realizes through Cyborg and Company Limited, they are able to isolate where the parademons have a nest and where these workers from Star Labs, the scientists and the employees of Star Labs, where they may have been kidnapped and carried. Wonder Woman was able to tell them that that's what thought the parademons did, and so on. And when they actually arrived at that place, which was really, it was the engine room of a sort of venting. It's like the venting tower in this underground passage, sort of like it was a railroad, underground railroad. And there's a venting tower. And in the engine room of the venting tower, that's where Steppenwolf was interrogating the employees and scientists of Star Labs, trying to find out where the mother box was. So in this case, where we start here is when he has already interrogated a lady scientist, broke her neck. She fell down the ground dead. And he's angry. And he's talking about how the humans are so afraid. They're so filled with fear that, you know, the parademons just want to jump on them and eat them. And then he grabs up Howard the janitor, okay, which you see here. This is Howard here, and that is Silas Stone. So Howard's here. There's another scientist here. This is the dead scientist over there. And he picks up Howard. You know, Steppenwolf's a very tall guy. He's about 14 feet tall, 10 to 14 feet tall. You see the parademons there. He picks up Howard the janitor, and he basically interrogates him. He says, you know where the mother box is. Her scent is on you, right? And then from there, generally speaking, now we go to the Flash. So what happened then was we would flash to the Flash speaking to Batman. He sees everything that's happening. And he starts to talk about how he's not ready for that. He's like, oh, I'm afraid of, you know, people carrying weapons and tall, excessively tall people, you know, and murder. I don't want to be here. You understand? Right? So he says all of that. Now, while he's saying that, there's actually a conversation going on still with Steppenwolf and Howard. And so that's where I'm going to tell you what it was. So Steppenwolf starts and he said, first Howard says, please, please. And Steppenwolf answers him. He says, I don't want to hurt you. And then he goes on to say, I need to know the location of something that they've taken from me. Okay. He actually says that in the background, but I brought it to the foreground. And then he says, you've seen it, the mother box. So all of that was cleared out. And then you go, you know, in the recording, I just kind of let Flash come to the foreground, and he was conversating with Batman. And they don't really have any other dialogue. I was fishing around, seeing if Steppenwolf would say anything else, but he didn't say anything else. And so it was pretty cool that you could pick up that in the background. So that Steppenwolf, and if you really listen, if you go back to the movie and you replay it, you'll actually hear you'll hear Howard say please, and you'll actually hear Steppenwolf begin to talk. At least you'll hear the tone in his voice. You'll actually hear that. So he's talking to Howard, and that's what I picked up when I was watching the movie. And I said, oh man, he seems to be telling Howard something. Let me go and find out. And what's interesting about it is Steppenwolf is talking about how the people of Earth stole this mother box from him, that it's his mother box. And so I find that very interesting and somewhat insightful, because he never really says that. But obviously, from the story being told, the story that was told by Diana, they came with him. But apparently, it is his stuff. He's saying they've taken it from me, you know. So it's very interesting. I thought there's probably more dimension to Steppenwolf than we got in the movie. And so some of you will be like, Snyder Cut, and you see Justice League was. I'm not saying all of that. I'm just saying, of course, I want to see the Snyder Cut because I want to see what else is going on with Steppenwolf that we didn't know about. Because I feel that there's more to this character. It seems as though, like Sierra and Hines were saying, he's tired and he's got a certain degree of honor in him. Like you heard him say noble queen when he was talking to Hippolyta. Here now he's saying, I'm not going to kill you. He just killed a woman. He's like, I'm not going to kill you. You know, I don't want to hurt you. I'm not going to kill you. I don't want to hurt you. I just need to know the location of something that they've taken from me. You've seen it, the mother box, right? That makes sense. In the end, the guy, he just keeps on screaming and yelling, and I don't know where it is. And he just takes it, I guess, takes him and flings him and says, useless, right? But at the end of the day, what I'm saying is that Steppenwolf, you know, there's a certain degree of, as much as he has disdain for humanity, and he even says that, you can see that there's something else going on with him. And so, you know, I'd be interested in seeing how what this character really was going to be, which I think in essence he was what he was, but I feel like there's some other layers to him that we're not seeing. So I'm just curious about that. We know that he's kind of wanting to get revenge. We know the mother box came from him. You know that the Earthlings, they stole the mother boxes from him. He would say they stole it from him. But I feel like there's more to him conquering Earth. It's not just his birthright. It's not just that he wants to be reinstated as a new god. I think there's something else going on there. And even the fact that he calls the mother boxes mother is another thing that always gets me. You know, he calls them mother or one mother. And I'm like, why is he saying mother? I don't understand that. You know, and Trent Osborne, he tried to give an explanation to me that, you know, that's the thing that created life. And took life and created life and transformed life and terraformed worlds and stuff. And probably Steppenwolf has something to do with that mother box in some way, shape, or form. Maybe it even goes back to the beginning of Apocalypse and New Genesis. Who knows? Of course, we know there are father boxes on New Genesis, but nonetheless, why does he call the boxes mother? He doesn't call them mother box. He calls them mother or one mother. Like he's talking to something. What exactly is he talking to? That's what I don't understand. So I'm very curious to know what it is he's talking to. And I feel like Zack Snyder is going to at least give us something extra so that we would know about that. Again, Justice League's run is pretty much over, and the home sales are doing not as good as the other DCEU films, but it's doing its thing. So I'm not really worried. You know, now we're focusing our attention on the Snyder Cut, and hashtag release the Snyder Cut is where we're going with. But I just thought that was interesting for me to talk about. Okay, nobody in the chat section, no one at all. Anybody want to say anything? Nobody's up, nobody's around. That's interesting. Well, let me stop this here. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. I wish I could share you guys the video. The video is really cool. It's only 42 seconds, but it's really cool because then you can actually hear it yourself. But I don't want to get flagged by either WB or someone else. So I just do the stills. But it's interesting. I always think that that's what makes movies rewatchable. Rewatchability is based on the fact that there's depth to a movie, and you go back and watch it again. You miss certain things. You pick up other things. That's what I think makes movies rewatchable. And that's what I thought was interesting about Justice League. Of course, I haven't watched Justice League fully another time, but it's just really cool to see all these extra things inside of there. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. If there's anything else you guys want to talk about, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to just shut this down and I'm going to go my way. So let me know if you guys want to say anything else on here. This is why I like the DCU, by the way, because of rewatchability. Suicide Squad is not as rewatchable. I haven't found anything new in Suicide Squad of late. But because Suicide Squad kind of ties in with the other DCEU movies, you get to thread in some interesting things in there. I'm going to talk to you guys about something else that's very interesting. threads throughout the DCEU movies, but I'm trying to prepare that video. Okay. All right, man. So if that's all for today, you guys have a great night. If everybody's just gonna move out, peace, no problem. I don't like putting up negative videos. I'm gonna try and focus on saying positive things, keeping a positive outlook. You know, no matter what's happening with me, you know, want to keep it positive as much as possible, empowering as much as possible. All right, so that's about it. You guys can have a great night. I may post up another video. I may do another stream, so look out for it. But in the meantime, you guys have a great one. Let me shut this down.